In this lecture, we're going to look at the CSS units. So the most common CSS units are pixels, em, root em, and percentages. Now, not all CSS properties will take CSS units as values. Only certain CSS properties take length values such as width and height, margin, padding, font size, border width, etc. So I'm going to show you an example of the first one, which is pixels. So I'm going to get rid of the last one here, and I'm going to type if font size is set to 20 pixels. And the one on the bottom is font size is set to 40 pixels. Okay, now in our CSS file, we're gonna target the div here, and I'm gonna type font size 20 pixels. And let's go to our browser and check it out. Okay, the first one is set to 20 pixels, okay, which is the div. Let's target the span. And we're gonna set this to 40 pixels. Refresh. Okay, you can see the differences there. The bottom one, which is the span, is set to 40 pixels, and the top one is set to 20 pixels. Okay, now let's move on to M. On this one, I'm gonna change this to P, to a P tag. Okay, the top one here. Now, on the bottom one here, I'm gonna add a div. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap the whole span element there, like this. And I'm gonna set this to this font size is set using n units. Okay, I'm just gonna do it this way. Now, in our CSS file, okay, we're not gonna do anything with the div, so we wanna target the span, and the span, I'm gonna set it to, I'm just gonna do 1M, okay? And let's go to the browser and check it out. Okay, you can see that this is set back to 20 pixels, which is the div. I mean, excuse me, which is the p tag, and this is the span. Okay, so I because the div is set to 20 pixels. No, the div is not set to 20 pixels. The p tag is not set at all. Okay, I'm gonna add a font size to the p tag also, and I'm gonna set it to the same size, 20 pixels. Okay, that way we're gonna see the differences, which basically are gonna be the same. Okay, they're the same. This is the p tag, and this is coming from the span, which is set to 1M. But remember, this is okay, 1M. So okay, so now let me explain a little bit about the M. The M is basically, let's say if we set the span to 2M, that will be 2 times the size of the current font. Which one is the current font? Is this one here. Why? Because this is the parent element. This is the div. the span is basically the child, okay, and the div is the parent, okay. So there is a font size set to the parent element, which is 20 pixels, and the span is getting its size based on the div. Okay, so if I set this to well, I already set it to 2M, then this should be 40 pixels. Okay, so now it's 2 times the size of the current font. If I set this to 0.5, then that will be basically 10 pixels, right? Because it's half of 20. You see the differences there. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the root M, REM. The root M is almost the same as the M, okay, but instead of the using a parent element like div, we're basically gonna use the root element. The root element is the body element, which is this one here, okay. So I'm still gonna leave it like that, the same as here, set to 20 pixels, but I'm just gonna add a body here. I'm gonna target the body. And I'm gonna set the font size to 30 pixels, okay? And I'm gonna change this to 30 pixels too, so we won't get confused. Okay. And I'm just gonna get rid of this here. So I'm gonna get rid of these two. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the whole thing here. I'm gonna save it and check it out just to see what we're doing here. Okay. So the top one is which is the P tag, which is the font size. And basically we really don't need to set the font size here on the P tag because it will get it from the body. Okay. So we can just refresh. It didn't change. Let me check it out. Oh, I forgot the semicolon there. Okay. Okay, now both of them are getting the same size because of the size is getting it from the body. Okay. Now we want to set this to we're gonna do one RAM, one REM. Okay, and basically it's a lot smaller, okay, than the regular font size. If we want to make it a bit bigger, then it'll be just, it kind of seems almost the same size, and it's probably is. Okay, so it's basically getting from the body. Okay, so from here you can target any, and you can see the span. It's within the this div. Okay, it's a child of the div. If we want to target the P tag, we can also do it. Let me see. Let's say gonna set gonna set it to 4 RAM, and it should be bigger. Yeah, you see that's bigger. Okay, okay. Now we're gonna look at the percentages. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing. It'll work the same thing as the M. So I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna target the span here. Okay, but I'm gonna set a font size for the parent element. So I'm gonna set this to. I'm just gonna remove this one here for right now. And the force font size is gonna be 2 pixels. Okay, it's gonna be 2 pixels, and this is gonna be percentages. Okay, so I'm just gonna set it to 100%. Okay, 100% is going to be the same size. it'll be 20 pixels. Okay, both of them. No, let me see. Div. I'm gonna add the p tag again. I'm gonna set it to font size 20 pixels. Okay. So remember, the top one is the p tag. Okay. And the top one is just to verify the font size. That's why I have it there. Okay, so it's set to 20 pixels. The parent element, which is the div, is set to 20 pixels. And the font size of the child element, which is the span, is set to 100%, which is basically the same font size, right? It's the same size. However, if you want to set this to 200, well, it'll be 40 pixels, right? Okay. If we want to set this to 50, it'll be half of it. Okay, you can set any number you want to set. If you want to do 60, if you want to do 130, it doesn't matter. Okay, it'll go based on the parent element, in this case the div. But if we remove the font size from here, okay, and add it to the body here, and it'll be the same thing. Okay, it'll be the same thing. You see, it's the same thing. If we, let me, no, it's not the same thing. Hold on. There you go. It's the same thing now. The parent element is the root element, which is the body. Okay. Well, that is it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we're gonna look at the width and height.